Okay. That's the minutes. And if nobody minds, can we go ahead with the Sims report? Because they're sitting there so nicely and all that. And
Vanessa, do you want to introduce us?
yeah, I'm so tickled. Tickled's a funny word. I'm so happy to have this here today, to have this presentation, because I think this is a really special institute, and for them to be coming to City College is just overwhelming. So, Vanessa, go ahead.
Well, thank you very much, and I have been so thrilled to have the opportunity today to introduce the Mann Institute for Early Childhood Education Think Tank and Fellowship Program. And this is just the completion, really, of the first year of this program, and I thought it would be so fitting to invite Vicki Sims and Carol Karp and Gina Gillum to come and make a presentation to share with you how exciting the accomplishments of this last year have been. What is so wonderful and so unique about this program is that a foundation board member, Dr. Victoria Mann-Sims, created and funded a program that has a significant and positive impact on our teachers, on curriculum, and our college's reputation. This fellowship program provides stipends for teachers, which is really a rarity for community colleges, and the ability to stretch faculty and staff creatively and to push for cutting-edge incorporation of research from world-renowned researchers. And although I'm not going to be describing the program because there is a presentation after this, I'll tell you that I have been able to participate and witness some of the impact that this program has on faculty and staff at Santa Barbara City College who have had the opportunity to participate in a statewide initiative. And there have been fellows from multiple community colleges that have gotten an opportunity, thanks to the Mann Institute, to participate in a think tank and brainstorm about creative ideas. You know, really, people said this couldn't be done. It couldn't be done at the community college level. It couldn't be done. It's too complex. But really, it was only because of incredible hard work and dedication that this has been able to be accomplished. And I just want to say it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to see this come to fruition. I also want to recognize Dr. Betty Passage, who frankly was so critical in helping to link our fellows to the program and help to really help bring this to fruition. And an extra positive thanks to my colleague, Erica Mesker, who's the scholarship director at the foundation, because it's been a lot of work on that. I just want to say, Vicki, on behalf of Santa Barbara City College Foundation, we are so grateful to you and your team, and your leadership and vision here has been so helpful, and it's going to have a huge lasting impact. It's a great way of teaching the teachers of our early childhood providers, and I just wanted to add that. On that, Dr. Vicki Sims, I'd like to introduce.
Thank you. I love the logo. It's just
well, thank
so
you. We
good.
had an artist that came in from Italy, actually, to do that logo for us, because we call the program The House Within, which is developing the house within all of us, the emotional, psychological development of the person. But I wanted to start by saying I personally had never had any experience with a community college before. And a wonderful woman came to our foundation and said, if you want to get the most bang for your dollar, you've got to know about city colleges. I'm not from California. And so my colleague and I, Carol, who will be up soon, decided that we would come to Santa Barbara City College because our foundation decided that we would be part of the Osher Hands Across California Scholarship Initiative. And so we decided to give some scholarships to Santa Barbara, but we also were fortunate enough to see parts of the school that were very impressive. And at that point is when we started to think about community colleges and to understand that I'm a psychologist, but I'm also an early child development specialist, and it's an area I've worked for a very long time. So I wanted to see the daycare situation here, and I wanted to meet the psychologists, the social workers, whomever was teaching the educational classes here in early development. And it was at that point that we found out that 70 to 80% of the daycare in the state of California is trained at the community college situation. We also found out that approximately 2/3 of the children today in the new American family are in daycare by the age of 1 year old. So with that understanding, we went all over the country meeting with professionals, with the researchers in early child, from Harvard to Yale to Berkeley. We went all over to find out what's the latest thinking in early child. And we found out a lot about neuroscience and the development of the brain. And I was trained as a psychoanalyst, so I kind of thought I already knew it. But now we have neuroscience that shows us what's happening with children and the brain today. And in that, we also learned from some of the professionals at Harvard that are doing major work now lobbying in Washington for the 0 to 3 age group, because what they're trying to do is to show how our dollar is best spent when children are young than when they get to be even 10 years old. The time that the brain is developing the most is the first 5 years, and that's important. And the experiences and the connections they have during the first 5 years are the most important. So this project started from getting to know the community college and all the wonderful training you do, and getting to know what the new neuroscience was. And we kind of creatively thought, wouldn't it be terrific if we could take these researchers up in their ivory towers, the Harvards and the Yales, and get them to connect and talk with the community college people, because they're the workers. They're the people out there doing the work. They're meeting the families. They're talking with the families. And they need to create all kinds of ways to help these families become solid enough so that they can raise children that don't end up in jail, that don't end up dropping out of high school, dropping out of college. So we created this think tank. We had a little bit of difficulty the first year getting speakers, because nobody really was that interested in community college work. But we got very fortunate because we got two of the most important neuroscientists in the country, Pat Kuhl and her husband Andy, to come last year. And this year we have two fabulous professors from Yale that are beyond excited to come, and they will present their research. And we are looking for our community college fellows, which there will be about 8 of this year again, to dialogue with them, create projects, and take the research and translate it so that the people that they work with can use it, and hopefully even translate it so that we can kind of educate the researchers a bit, because so many of the researchers aren't always touching children in the same ways we are. And this will be our second think tank in February. We're hoping our pilot project will be finished the third year, a year from now. We are doing outcomes research, so we're hoping to be able to then collaborate with other states so that what we're doing here in partnership with you will be a model for the country, which is a high dream and high hope, but we're behind it. And we very much appreciate Vanessa and Neil Cassell, who was your head of your foundation, who had the vision to understand what we're doing and support us. And then, of course, Betty, who's just been inspirational and so helpful in our finding qualified fellows that will be a part of the program. And I will say that we were really happy this year because a lot of very, very qualified, I mean, we have 3 or 4 fellows this year that are PhDs that are working at the community colleges, some from San Francisco, from San Diego. So we're really across the state of California. And we're here to just say to you that we're pleased and happy to have this partnership. And I'm going to have the rest of our team come up and educate you and kind of let you know exactly what we're doing, because it's a little bit confusing. And I think Carol and Gina will come up. And I think I'm going to let them introduce themselves, because they have a wonderful background as well.
Okay.
So thank you all for your caring and your insight, and I hope that in a year from now we'll be able to come back and give you some good outcomes.
Well, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carol Karp, and it has been my absolute pleasure to work with the Mann Institute on the Educational Initiative. As an early childhood educator for about 30 years and a speech-language pathologist, I've really seen firsthand the importance of early intervention and education for young people starting 0 to 3. Because I think it's a misnomer. We often think of early childhood education as starting at 3, as in with Project Head Start. And it really needs to start much, much earlier. The research is showing that in terms of brain growth, and also in terms of the money that we put in early. We get a lot more for that initial investment, like 8 times the amount of money that we put in early as to opposed when we put it in much later. So it's been wonderful seeing the projects and seeing how this project will continue. And I'd like to introduce Gina.
Thank you, Carol. My name is Gina Gillum. I'm the Educational Initiative Program Manager for the Mann Institute. And together, Carol and I are going to share with you the state of early childcare and the success of our program.
The fast-paced lifestyle of today's world, created by technology, globalization, and changing economic conditions, has threatened the healthy development of the child, the family, and the community. We're all overwhelmed, and it's a particularly difficult time for young families today to kind of just keep up with everything, manage, and raise healthy human beings.
The Mann Educational Initiative has 4 main goals. Number 1, to raise the awareness of the importance of ages 0 to 3. Number 2, demonstrate the key role that community colleges play in our society, not only as a place of learning and training, but now through this program as a place for translating research. Number 3, provide innovative approaches to professional development for all community colleges. And number 4, become a state and national model for public-private partnerships.
So why are the ages 0 to 3 so important? The first few years of life physically sculpt the very matter of the brain and set the stage for lifelong learning. The latest neuroscience research confirms that relationships, combined with the quality of experience, sets the stage for future personal and academic success. Disruption in this developmental process can impair a child's capacities for learning and relating to others, with lifelong implications. This became very clear to me early in my career when I taught kindergarten about 30 years ago, and I saw children that were coming in 3 years behind. And it was really very shocking to me that children would be starting kindergarten and already be so far behind, and it just pointed out that we really need to start much, much earlier in our educational goals.
So why is the Institute making an investment in community colleges? As Dr. Sims mentioned, the community colleges are responsible for training at approximately 70% of our state's child care workforce. Also, early childhood education certificates and degrees are among the top 2 awarded programs at community colleges. This is key when you think that 61% of mothers in the U.S. with children under the age of 1 are in the workforce. 2 out of 3 American children under 5 now receive some form of non-parental care. In most cases, this starts before the age of 1. Jack Schoenkoff from Harvard University stated that it is clear that to build our country's youth, it is important to improve the early childhood environments found in childcare facilities.
What is the current state of childcare? Quality of care ultimately boils down to the quality of the relationship between the caregiver or the child care provider and the child. So that relationship is really important. Unfortunately, there's huge turnover in terms of caretakers due to, although it seems to me that it's one of the most important jobs in our society, the pay is quite low. So that means that people need to find other jobs, which makes there are disruptions then in that relationship. And there are also very few infant-toddler courses offered, and most do not integrate current research. I have a master's degree in early childhood education, and I never took a class in 0 to 3. All of it was 3 to 5, and I find that kind of astonishing. I have a master's degree and a credential in early childhood education with no education in 0 to 3. And if you look at the child care providers, for every dollar that is invested in early childhood, it generates $3 return in benefit to society. If you look at the fact that we spend in California $10,000 per student to educate each student each year, and in contrast to that, we spend $50,000 to keep one person in prison every year. And it seems like we need to change some of those priorities.
So what are we doing about this? The Mann Institute Educational Initiative created an annual think tank and fellowship program to fill the gap between early childhood research and practice. The Think Tank and Fellowship Program is the first program of its kind to be implemented at the community college level. At the think tank, fellows will interact with major researchers to discuss the latest thinking on the ages 0 to 3 and parenting in our culture today. The potential impact of our program is clear when you know that just from 10 fellows, they have the reach and influence over about 5,000 people per year. Our first think tank, it included 7 fellows, community guests, and world-renowned researchers, Drs. Patricia Kuhl and Andrew Meltzoff. Collaboration is the answer and the key. Public-private partnerships provide a cost-effective structure for leveraging a high return for society. Private foundations, like the Mann Institute and businesses, offer creativity and flexibility in addition to financial support. Public organizations, like Santa Barbara City College, offer a path to take projects to scale and sustainability. This program will facilitate collaboration between community colleges, major universities, and internationally recognized researchers. Through this partnership, Santa Barbara City College is able to implement a diverse and innovative program with little to no cost to them.
Through this program, we hope to produce leaders in the field of early childhood education. Through this public-private action, together we are leading the way in the prevention of unfavorable life choices which can hinder the development of a healthy society. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's wonderful. Yeah, Jack?
Yeah, we had lunch today with Dr. Sims and her staff, and when they articulated to me what they achieved this past year and what the vision is, it just became clear to me the potential, because what we do with community colleges, we provide the training for the people who are working directly with children, and the researchers from Yale, Harvard, and other places often don't have that connection. And what this does is it provides that nexus between the high-level research that's taking place and the people who are delivering and training others to deliver the service at that level. And the number they showed, 5,000, if you multiply that over and over again, it can have a huge impact as they scale the model. To me, what I took away from that is that model can apply to other areas that we're involved in, because there's so much research that's done and just sits on a shelf and gets published in something we don't read, and it's not informed by practitioners. And so if we have that dialogue between us as practitioners, our faculty, our students, collecting data, and the researchers who are making sure they're asking the right questions and having it applied at a level where the people we're training are working with the clients that they're studying, it has huge potential to go beyond what they're doing here. So I'm very excited about what they've developed and the potential not only for this child, age 0 to 3, which is critical and overlooked, and I agree, but also as I look at other areas as a wonderful model. So again, I have to applaud, Vicki, I know you provided leadership, your staff, and everybody who supported you, because it's a very innovative, wonderful model that has enormous potential to make a big difference in the people we're trying to serve. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Marianne?
I'm a retired educator who was a foundation program officer for a national foundation responsible for the areas of education and early childhood. And in all the time I was there and all of the past history of that foundation, I don't think we ever gave quite as creative and potentially heavy impact a grant as this one is. I congratulate you. I wish I could claim it. And I would love to have, in my younger years, had an opportunity to work with you. Thank you.
That's good. Marsha, did you have?
Yes, I really want to thank Dr. Sims and her team as well. I am extremely appreciative of your vision in focusing upon this 0 to 3-year-old development of our children and the importance of that for our society in perhaps having a real impact, a real positive impact on our student success. I mean, we are about student success, and I think what you are helping us to see is that that starts 0 to 3, and it's something that we need to be very involved in. And I appreciate also your vision in, as Jack said, bringing this to a community college level and the community that needs to know this information and to disseminate it among the community and among the people who will have the direct impact, taking the research and bringing it to the practical implications and the benefits that we can have from that research. So thank you, Vicki, and your team for allowing us to partner with you.
And I just want to say thank you. When Lori shared this work with us in June, and I remember I was at Disneyland with my son, checking my email, and I, obviously the name and what early childhood. I remember sitting there in line at Cars and reading through the whole newsletter and thinking, this is so exciting, and just emailing Lori back. And again, just to Vanessa, thank you guys. I teach kindergarten, so I know that the fruit of your work is going to impact my classroom and my families and my students. And I know I'm sitting here, but if there's anything that I can do to partner with you guys, Vanessa, please let me know. And I would be happy to sign up, whatever. I would love to join you guys in any way I can.
I think we really see the connection between the research and the practical here, and that's the wonderful, wonderful part of this, because somebody said at lunch that it takes 15 years for research to become known in the classroom or to get it implemented. Well, let's cut that down and make it 2 years or whatever, so that we can be really at the forefront of this. I really appreciate what you're doing. Okay, Craig.
Thank you. My career was not in education. About 15 years ago, I made a friend that was a medical doctor doing research, and their team was doing a lot of work, research into nutritional, into the field of nutrition for 1 to 3-year-olds. And they felt, and this was like over cocktails and coffee and dinners, that they really believed that if we paid more attention to that age group, we would have far fewer problems after that. One of the major points, and maybe 0 to 3, was they had data that confirmed some kind of a difference in achievement between breastfed and bottle-fed babies. and I'm no expert on that. Now I find myself very involved in education, and I have a daughter-in-law and her sister who both teach preschool in different ways here in the state. My daughter-in-law is a kindergarten teacher, or was. Now she's staying home with the kids because the daycare alternative she doesn't believe is enough. I think that with your help and with what you're offering us, or including what you're bringing to us, is so beneficial to our students, because it's going to make them more effective, you know, when they leave our institution and go into and do their work, and they're going to be able to achieve, you know, some better results. Because the one thing that's happening right now is we're not getting better, and if we don't change what we're doing, it's not going to get better. I applaud you for what you're doing. I'm very, very impressed, and if I can help in some small way, I'd love to be asked. Thank you.
We can come back here next year and see what's happening. I love it. Yeah. Peter has one more.
Somebody said it cost $50,000 to put somebody in prison. I think it was Carol. Wish it were that inexpensive. The average cost is about $56,000 for an adult and over $80,000 for a youth offender. If what we're doing now can somehow affect or predict behavior and modify that behavior, think of the tax dollars we could save from putting people pointlessly behind bars. The other contribution I think you're making, Vicki, is you're illustrating why the compartmentalization of educational into this component and that, and finally the college level, you know, is really bogus. It's part of a single stream, and we're all in the same business at different levels. And if we can underscore that one, I think the level of cooperation and conversation between component parts of the educational process will become much more useful, much more meaningful.
Well,
So thank you.
Thank you. We applaud you, so let's do that. Thank you.